Hello, I'm Robin and welcome to Bookspin. Today we'll be looking at a truly unique and fascinating book, The Cabinet by Unsoo Kim. This is a really unusual novel. It's one of my most memorable and distinctive reads so far this year, and I believe it deserves to get more attention. It's such a bizarre book. It's a little difficult to describe. It doesn't fit neatly into any particular genre or subgenre, but basically I would say it's a mosaic novel with a sci-fi premise, elements of magic realism, and plenty of dark humor. This was originally published in Korean in 2006 as Kim's first novel, and its English translation came out just last year. So in the story, we have a first-person frame narrative told from the point of view of Mr. Kong, who is an office worker in his 30s, and he has a thoroughly boring job. So looking for distraction, he happens upon a mysterious confidential filing cabinet called Cabinet 13. Inside this cabinet, there are hundreds of case files on people called symptomers. Now, symptomers have a range of bizarre conditions and abilities and are thought to indicate the possible emergence of a new form of humanity. We also have this character called Professor Kwon, who is a reclusive old man who's been taking care of these files his whole life. Professor Kwon decides to take on Mr. Kong as his research assistant. Thereupon, Mr. Kong's job is basically to help him take care of this cabinet, counsel symptomers over the phone, and protect these files from a shady outside organization known as the Syndicate. So this is the frame story, and this story is interspersed throughout with lots of short stories and vignettes where we learn about these symptomers and their case studies and their daily lives. Some of these short stories are really weird. So, as an example, we have a story of a man who has a ginkgo tree growing from his fingertip. We also have stories about people known as memory mosaicers who can hack their own memories to erase unpleasant memories and create new confabulations. There are also stories about time skippers. These are people who lose random episodes of time in their life. That's to say, they just disappear suddenly without warning from one moment in their life and then reappear later. And that could be hours later, weeks later, or even years later. The time skipper hasn't changed, but the world around them has moved on. And sometimes they get displaced not just in time, but also in space. So in one of my favorite stories, for example, there's one man who experiences a time skip while on the way to work on the subway. And when he comes to, he finds himself on an island in the Pacific Ocean. And 3 years have passed. So this book is full of bizarre little short stories like these. And those examples I've mentioned are just the tip of the iceberg. These stories often have a fable-like quality and are full of eccentric and larger-than-life characters. Both the main narrative and the symptomer stories are fascinating and superbly weird, sometimes very dark, often philosophical, and full of dry humour. In fact, I would say the humour is one of the most attractive points of Kim's writing. I often found myself laughing aloud when reading this. That's not to say it's all light-hearted and whimsical, though, as there are some very violent and disturbing moments in the book that should merit a trigger warning if that's not your thing. I've not read anything quite like this before, but I would recommend it definitely if you're looking for something a little unusual, a little different. If you appreciate Haruki Murakami and his brand of magic realism, as I'd say there are some similarities to his writing style. So I enjoyed it a lot, and I would say The Cabinet is a 5-star read for me. Let me know your thoughts on this if you've read it, or if you plan to give it a try. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more sci-fi content.